So talking about, we've got lots coming out actually. A bit later on, we'll talk about Raheem Sterling possibly on his way to Chelsea. We'll also talk about the luckiest moments in sport. Sadio Mane will be featured in today's show. So just quickly on Sadio Mane, unfairly treated, underloved at Liverpool.
There's something. Whenever I've sort of thought about Sadio Mane, I think he's an outstanding player. But I've always felt he looks like a player to me that has felt a little bit undervalued. Now, of course, the Liverpool fans love him. I don't mean by the fans. I mean by maybe in terms of with all the contract stuff that's come up, and maybe he always thought he was never quite going to get the money that Mo Salah potentially could get if he decides to get a deal sorted. I don't know. I just felt there's always that's always rumbled along in the background for me a little bit. Look, at some point, and one of them was going to go. At some point, one of them was going to move on. I think we all perhaps thought it might even be Firmino, the first one to perhaps look for a game elsewhere. But look, Sadio Mane, good luck to him. But Liverpool are going to... It's exciting. The Darwin Núñez signing is exciting, but they're going to miss him because he's a brilliant player.
He is. I'm guessing he's going to play down the middle.
I would think so.
Will go somewhere. Anyway, we'll talk about that a bit later on. 03717223334. You can call in now. We'll take your details and call you back when that subject comes round in about an hour's time. If you missed the start of the show, we're talking about the Manchester United chief exec, Richard Arnold. He met up with some fans who planned to protest outside his house. He sat down with them in a pub, bought them pints and was, well, brutally honest with them about the club. Before we get stuck into the calls, let's hear some of the audio from that leaked video. Here we go. Have a listen.
What's happened is we burned through cash on. You can't go and see. You can't go to our training ground and say, by the way, show me where that £1 billion is in, because I don't think we've done well with the money we've spent historically. Yeah. But we've blown through an enormous amount of money for this summer. The money that the manager and the director of football wants is there, right? For the future, for investing in a new stadium and that sort of stuff. To do a latest and greatest £250 million training ground. Okay, we've got to do something. We've got to get investors in. And again, I need that to do what I want for the club. The money's got to come from somewhere, and you may not like our current owners. Okay, I can't help that. But if you want someone else to come in, they have to look and say, okay, the fans love the club, they love the team, it's positive. Because the other bit is, last year was a nightmare, right? It was a nightmare. I was hating every game.
Yeah, last few months have been a nightmare. We've toned that down, burned through cash, etc. What do you make of what you saw? 03717223334, and the fact that it was leaked and it shouldn't have been. Mike is a Man United fan. He joins us first. Mike, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you two gents?
I'm good. I'm very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Go on, off you go, Mike.
Yeah. So, I watched a bit of it this morning and stuff, and I have to say, I love it. I think it's great. It's a shame, obviously, that it was recorded and then put online without him knowing about it. I think the fact that he spoke candidly and openly, and there was none of that, corporate nonsense, I think was great, and it's just what Manchester United needed at this point in time.
Mike, I totally agree. I like the whole concept, the whole idea of having someone at a club like United who's able to access his fan base and who's prepared to go and meet them. Because after all, fans get really frustrated, Andy, as well, don't they? When their voice can't be heard, their questions don't get answered. So it's really good that he's had the intention to go and meet these people and talk about it. However, you just cannot, in his position, start talking about club business, about the amounts of money that you've thrown away, about this and about that, too candidly. I also think the way that he was talking there, was he talking almost as if he felt one of them might be filming him?
There are question marks over that.
Do you think...
But I'd like to think he was thinking this might be filmed.
Because that's different. If he actually thought, look, one of these guys might actually be filming me and trying to tuck me up, but I'm actually just going to be honest. Well, I'll tell you what, there's full marks for that. I don't think the Glazers and anyone above him will be particularly happy with that. But the worrying part is that yes, he wants to make a difference. Yes, he wants to be different to Ed Woodward, and of course he would. But I think he's also got to be very smart. And I think if you're going to go down that road and trying to engage with people, drip feeding little bits of info out there, I've got to be clever to do that.
I agree. Mike, just staying with what you just said, is there a danger now? Is there a worry that we'll never hear from him again because of that?
There is a worry. There is. But, I mean, we'll probably hear from him again but I doubt it'll be in that sort of context. It will probably end up, being told what to say. But at the same time, do you reckon he really said anything in that interview that we didn't already know as fans? I don't know.
No, maybe not. But that's besides the point, I think. He trusted these fans. He sat down in a pub with them, bought pints, had a little chat. Deal was, listen, don't film it.
Yeah.
We'll have a chat. I'll answer your questions honestly, which he did.
He did.
And then they've come out and done that. Let's speak to Tom, a Man United fan. Hello, Tom.
Hiya, guys. You all right?
Yeah, we're good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Go on, off you go, Tom. What's your view on it all?
Well, as a fan, I'm furious at the fans because I think it's been known for ages now that the fans are at war with the club, like protesting at Old Trafford, and that's all fair dues. You pay your money, but what were these guys going to do? Turn up on his doorstep where his family are and protest, and then they go and shove this out to the world, and they now give the club a reason to be at war with the fans. It's just made things a whole lot worse, the relationship between fans and club, and it's just absolute stupidity from the fans.
But what's your opinion this morning of Richard Arnold as opposed to the one before you heard what he said?
I think it's fantastic. I didn't know too much about him, to be honest, but I think it's fantastic what he came out and said, and I'd agree with the first caller. I don't think he said anything that anyone can deny, I think, but it's to hear someone speak honestly, it kind of gives you faith as a fan to think, well, hang on a minute, there might be someone in there that's fighting the corner of the fans and, at least having a voice saying what we're saying and protesting.
I totally agree, Tom. I think, and the one thing he could have done, if he's, effing and blinding a little bit here and there whilst he's having a pint with these guys, and all right, fine, that's just him talking. He doesn't believe he's being filmed, etc. I just don't think. I think he should say it's going to change. Things are going to change. We are desperate to bring some change about the club now. We've got the new manager. I'll tell you what, he seems like a great guy. Seems like a good guy. We're gonna back him. We're gonna support him. I think you can send a message out like that and still be pretty down to earth with a group of guys in the pub without perhaps talking a little bit about the amounts of money that you've spent.
I as a United fan, I thought it was great to see, right? And the fact that I'm thinking about it now, the fact that it was videoed and leaked and shouldn't have been, I'm sort of thinking, well, it still happened.
Might have done him a favour, though.
Might have done him a favour, because his PR, his stock now is so high, even more so when you think of who he took over from, Ed Woodward, and he wasn't loved by the fans, and he was seen to be doing a lot wrong for the club. Arnold's been there since, I think, February. All of a sudden he's come out. Usually they would have head of PR next to him. Can't answer that, and look at all the questions. No one alongside him. He's been brutally honest. I think this is, personally, I think this has done wonders for him and the club as well. Yeah,
maybe. There would be those in positions of power, in the corridors of power,
of course,
that would be worried about someone so new into these particular shoes,
being so open,
starting to be quite as easy to nobble as what Richard Arnold was, over the weekend. So look, there's two ways of looking at it. But again, it doesn't surprise me at all that the fans would see the positives out there. They would think, at last, we've got someone who sees it a bit like we see it.
And also, when we heard from him, there was it wasn't papering over cracks. He was being brutally honest with us, and he was saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
And in an era where it is becoming increasingly difficult to get a peep out of anybody that owns or runs your club, it's very difficult to. So I can fully understand why some fans were like that. I've had a text earlier from Gaz who says, word of warning to Man United fans, Mike Ashley, now whether this is true or not we don't know, used to turn up in pubs chatting to fans and buying pints, etc. when he first turned up. And look how that turned out. So now whether that's...
I don't think there's a comparison there.
No, but there's a comparison in the sense that if you want to...
But Mike Ashley, all he cared about was making sure Newcastle finished 17th on goal difference. Didn't invest in the club. Just didn't care.
Won't agree with that.
Well, that's a fact, though, right?
He won't agree that he didn't spend a load of money.
Oh, he didn't invest in that club.
No, but of course it turns out.
Look where they are now. Look, with what, £100 million spent? Totally different club.
Yeah, totally different club, but a totally different feel about the place now, of course. But look, the point is there that if you try and become this man of the people, do you remember Christian Gross when he got the Spurs job? Yeah. Remember he turned up in the press conference and he said, "Yes, I came here on the underground.
On the train, yeah.
Here's the tube ticket." Trying to be that man. And
he won't be doing that tomorrow.
Alan Sugar, you could see, I think it was Alan Sugar, like cringing next to him, thinking, oh my God. Because where everyone's going to start going with that man and the people stuff. And so you've got to be, when you're in that position that Richard Arnold is in, you've got to strike that perfect balance where, yes, you want to give the fans something, yes, you want to engage and relate to them, but also they've got to understand that there's a lot he can't say.